In 2001, Full Metal Alchemist was released in manga form and was published from that year until 2010. During that time, it was regarded as one of the best mangas and even later anime adaptations of the early 2010s. During the early publication of the manga, an anime was produced for it, airing on Japanese television. This original Full Metal Alchemist anime was run from 2003 through 2004. While the anime was much respected due to the fact that it was produced so early in the manga's publication, aspects of the series severely diverged from the manga's source material, which eventually had an interesting interpretation of the manga. The Phantom Thief, first broadcasted in 2003, was one of these custom episodes, as it was the 10th in the series, chronologically taking place after episode 2. Ed and Al are on their way back to Eastern headquarters following an investigation stop at the town of Aquaroa, which exists only in the anime adaptation. Aquaroa is actually a tourist location, so this gives the both of them time to rest for a bit before moving on. Through events in the episode, Ed and Al meet a police detective that has an appearance similar to Koichi Zingata from the iconic 1970s Japanese anime Lupin III. The detective explains how he's searching for a thief that's been roaming around Aquaroa called Siren. Apparently, Siren announces where she will be stealing from before the actual theft occurs, and this causes a great amount of publicity within the town and slightly abroad. Ed and Al decide to track down the thief, and through events, incapacitates Al, and Ed chases her while she's attempting to flee. Ed tackles her to the ground and attempts to hold her until the detective and Aquaroa police can arrest her. She throws him off guard by partly exposing her chest, where a transmutation circle is actually tattooed to use alchemy to defeat him. She later escapes, and Ed, Al, with the police, are left empty-handed. Ed eventually encounters Siren another time, and he learns from her that she can't exactly be trusted. Through the episode, she poses as a nurse, nun, and even school teacher, as it's clear to both Ed and Al that Siren, whose real name is Clara, is again not to be trusted. As the episode ends, both Ed and Al learn that Clara is actually posing as Siren on purpose to help bring attention and people to Aquaroa because it's sinking into the sea due to coastal erosion, and is helping to give the town some attention during the time that it has left. Clara is eventually captured, and as Ed and Al leave Aquaroa debating whether or not she did the right thing in her situation, Clara escapes from police custody, and the episode ends with her resuming her activities as Siren. The episode was spoken about through internet discussions at the time because it was one of the most notable episodes due to the rarity of a female alchemist user. As through most of this series, the original 2003 series and even Brotherhood, it's men who are the alchemy wielders, and the plot of the episode was different compared to what occurred prior in this series and what will be depicted later on. An interesting discussion that was noted was the fact that the transmutation circle tattooed on her chest was considered to be impractical due to, in the manga and anime adaptations, it needs to be exposed for the user to use it effectively. Clara had her circle in such a provocative place it wouldn't be logical to use in a serious battle, and much like the Phantom Thief, it could only be used discreetly and for defensive tactics only. Further discussions had it that Clara having it tattooed onto her chest was one of the first examples in the anime or even manga of an alchemy user having a transmutation circle tattooed onto their body to avoid drawing a circle on a various piece of surface, or using a piece of clothing, such as Mustang did. Quite a bit of online debate had it if her actions hurt or benefited Aquaroa, considering that the city was doomed no matter what she did. Internet discussions had it that possibly Clara could have handled the situation better or differently rather than acting as a thief. All that she was doing was giving false hope to the citizens of the town rather than try to find a real, legitimate solution to move the population from the location where it has coastal erosion, or help with efforts to try and stabilize it from sinking into the sea. Sometimes a character can be forgotten because even though fans enjoy them, they didn't add nor detract from the source material.